Hello and welcome to the third ever Jojovein Direct, celebrating the second anniversary of the server. So Jojovein has underwent many changes since its initial release. We've gone from stands that could mine holes through the ground, crashes everywhere, a smite system, to collectible cards. It's been a wild ride. In one of our most recent updates, we added a Crusader system, which allows you to summon a character to fight by your side and you could level them up. This time around though, we have even more Crusaders. To be exact, we have 17 new Crusaders, opposed to the first release's 13. And let's check them out right now with our phone. Oh no, this piece of trash phone can't open the GUI. Well, guess let's throw it away. On the other hand, when I press the 5 button on my keyboard, I can pull it up anyway. So yeah, it's key binded now. And another major difference is we now have banners and multi-summons, which allow you to pull for 10 characters at once. So a standard summon would be 5 orbs, and a multi-summon would be 50 orbs. As you can see, the character pushed to the very top is your rarest character. It is also specific to that banner. I pulled from the Part 3 banner, so my 5-star is a Part 3 character. Of course, you won't always be that lucky, and you'll probably get more 4-stars. So each banner has different featured characters you can pull, and most of them, just at least for now, have the same pool of 1 through 4 stars, but have different 5 stars. The exception being the Part 3 banner, which has exclusively Part 3 characters for all star values. Another major change that I have implemented is the ability to sort. I can sort by star value and I can sort by part. This should alleviate some of the stress caused by the incredibly long character selection menu that scrolls to the top when you hit the character. Alright, now let's get on to the exciting stuff. So I have implemented 5 subclasses to complement the hunter and vampire classes. Subclasses work in a different way. You activate them by hitting the 4 button on your keyboard, and when they're active you get certain bonuses. For instance, with hamon, I deal more damage to the undead, and I also get some temporary buffs, a very temporary burst of very high range, for instance, and increased damage to undead, which applies to stand hits and even ranged weapons such as bows or crossbows. You can get pretty creative since it applies to any damage source, but 0 times 0 is still 0. Sorry, snowballs. Hamon relies on your hunter level, and every time you gain a level, you gain a point to invest into one of the skills. So let me show you a blank slate of how this would look. You need a gold ingot to unlock hamon, a stone mask to unlock vampire, and various other conditions for these classes. Alright, so now we have unlocked our hamon ability. Its specialties are basically as I showcased, but it also has water walking, which is a thing now, and I think it's pretty cool. Shout out to Funky King for obtaining the code for water walking. And I believe Cyclic is the mod that we used as a basis. Anyways, you need skill points to invest in these abilities, and if you want more skill points than the ones the 14 levels of Hunter provide, you will need to prestige which resets your hunter level or vampire level if you're doing the vampiric tree. Every time you prestige, you get a higher starting point. So if I were to prestige again, that starting point would go from 4 to 10. And once you reach level 14 on your final prestige, you get level 14 as your starting point. Mobs hit with hamon don't take damage the first time they're hit. And this just charges them with hamon. We'll get into the specifics of why that is valuable in a second. So if I want to switch to vampire, I can actually not use it without having the main vampire class. So let's give ourselves that, as well as some human heart. So you might notice I can't actually suck the blood of something hit with hamon. That'll be useful to protect your base. But I can use the vampiric burst, and I can turn mobs not hit with hamon into vampire versions, which is tremendously useful if you just want to build up your vampire village or town or literally anything else in that vein. Vampire skills are very similar to the hamon skills in how you obtain them. My favorite vampire skill is hypnotism. This is Dark John's favorite skill as well. So once you are hit by a mob, they become hypnotized to 4 mobs, depending on your hypnotism level actually. Hypnotized mobs will not damage you the first time they attack you and become hypnotized, and they will attack anything that you attack, which makes them pretty reliable for killing weaker mobs, but be careful, they will expire. Every class also has this sort of sensory ability when you're sneaking, which makes mobs glow, and this is nice for finding things as well as you know, finding invisible players that might be trying to cheat you out of PvP. I'm talking to you, Orange Ocelot. Next, we have Moonlock, which, if you're not familiar with what this is, it's something from the server specifically. We have this custom story part taking place after part 6. That's this build I'm in right now is associated with that part. As a power system though, its focus is on damage and mobility, so every attack will do a little bit more damage, has a little extra oomph. But it's nothing too crazy, it's not as extreme as hamon is against undead. So if you want to upgrade these skills, you need red meteor powder. It will consume it from your inventory. See? These skills are more oriented towards mobility and less for combat. For instance, you have something that makes you fly and get a little floaty. And the flight is temporary, of course. It's nothing that you can use to just permanently win every fight with. So if you're holding control while you use your burst, it will seal your stand but give you increased strength and speed as well as a fancy trail of particles. This is to simulate fusing with your stand. If I ever get to the next JoJo Stars release, this will probably be explained more. I do have ideas for it. So next we have Spin. Spin is a very unique system in the fact that it is very much linked to horses. When you hit a target with Spin, the first target you hit after the burst gets the spin effect and a couple other negative effects. That just makes their cursor go a little bit wild. If you want to level this up, you need a bunch of archaeologists. They're found underground. Yes, they spawn. They spawn a good amount, and if you go caving, you will find tons of them probably. We've tested it on servers, they are definitely there. So upgrading these and gaining points consumes the archaeologists around you and converts them into points. So if I hit a Vindicator with a sword, I'm doing 13 damage, but if I get on my horse and I activate spin, I'm doing 16 damage, as you can see. And of course, ranged weapons are more prioritized with spin. They do a lot more damage. Perhaps the most interesting thing with spin is the ability to save horses. So we have no horse saved right now, but if we hit Alt and we use spin, we will save this horse and its stats to my player data. So as you can see, I have 47 in speed, and now that the horse is saved, I can summon it along with any saddle upgrades I purchase from the saddle menu. And let's not equip the leaf saddle because it looks nasty. So you will summon a copy of your horse, which you cannot drink blood from. This copy horse only lasts temporarily unless you use spin on it, and that will increase the amount of time it stays out. So if you keep using spin, it will effectively be maintained. You'll get a burst of speed every time you hit the spin key, which will be nice for races. Copy horse cannot be copied. You need to keep the foundation horse if you want to rewrite over this horse. Then you can do the same button press combination, and if you want the horse back, you will of course need the foundation horse, because you only have one horse slot. And from the saddle upgrades, you can see I can walk on water, walk on lava, etc. So that's the death of a horse. If I want to upgrade my horse, I have to breed for a better horse. Or, you know, I can go the vampire route, get my foundation horse, and it will transform into a vampire horse. If I save over it with the vampire horse, you will notice its speed went up to a whopping 57.59, and when I resummon it, it will be a vampire horse, and it will have its updated stats. So there you have it with spin. All sorts of horses work on it, skeleton horses, donkeys, you name it. That brings us to our final ability set, Cyborg. Cyborg is very copper heavy, so if you want to get all the upgrades, you'll need a ton of copper. So our tolerance goes down with every single cyber part we equip. They're based on cyber parts that were in the base cyberware mod, which we are actually removing due to lag and death loops. And this is basically our replacement to that system. So let's take Revive on Death, Step Height +2, Regen if near full HP, and 1 second invulnerability. You might notice that we cannot actually use cyborg abilities right now. That's because we need to do surgery on ourselves to prevent cheesing and whatnot. So surgery hurts, you're at 1 HP after a surgery, but you now have your cyberware equipped, which means you can give yourself lasting buffs, as well as some shorter buffs. The amount of customization is greater in here. For instance, we have a water part which allows us to fly underwater, and only underwater. We can equip any of those parts as long as it's within that tolerance cost. And we also get a little passive damage reduction from this class, subclass. The threat matrix Gives us dodge, scaling to our armor. If we have no armor on, we dodge a lot of hits. If we have some armor on, we dodge some hits, a respectable amount. But if we have all our armor on, we only dodge a very tiny amount of hits, so we probably won't even notice it here. So this is basically for armorless builds. So if we want to change back, we have to undo the surgery, which will set us to 1 HP again, but it will give us access to our classes. So now you have seen all of the changes and additions that I have coded. Right now we are waiting on one of our mod devs to wrap up the college semester so that he can get started on some things we absolutely need for this update to be released. So assuming that this dev needs to complete their college semester, I'm gonna put a tentative release date as maybe December 15th or so. It will definitely be out by next year. In a perfect world, it'll come sooner, but we never know, and we have to just bide our time and wait. I've spent 2 years of my life on this mod pack and server, and it just makes me very happy that I have a bunch of new friends. I met a bunch of new friends, and it's just been a profound experience for me. I'm thinking of creating my own video game. I hope that everyone will stick around and just continue with me on this journey as a coder and a dev. There will be more Jojovein content in the future. It'll probably come at a slightly slower rate because I do want to focus a bit more on my own game, and I'll give more details about that as it comes. But yeah, I hope you enjoy all these systems that I've coded in, and look forward to them in December or whenever they're finished. As for Morio, that is also very... I know we keep saying it's near completion, but that's because it is. It's just locked in that state until we finish just a small amount of more buildings and a little more quest. That'll probably be done before this update. As for server events, I don't have a formal anniversary event, just this live stream. But I am thinking of porting over the Sonic Rising map to commemorate the 30th anniversary of Sonic, and especially the anniversary of Jojovein. So that's all from me. I hope you liked this direct. Hydra heads out.